One of the discoveries you would make when you read the book of Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 10 is that a man can be saved but not safe. You can be saved, you're born again, but then you are not safe, because the Bible says that the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and is safe. So the man running into the name is not an unbeliever, is not a sinner, is a righteous man. But then you discover, although this man was righteous or is righteous, yet he is not safe, because he needs to find himself in the locale of the name to find safety, not salvation. One of the most rampant scenarios of this analogy is when you see a man who is born again, talking, but then is struggling with addictions. These addictions are tools that Satan has given him to ensure that he does not fulfill the full scope of his ordination upon the earth. So even though he is saved, he is still at Satan's reach. He is still pliable in the hand of Satan. He is not safe. But one of the ways that safety is achieved is when a man begins to find himself and locate himself in the atmosphere of the name. So how does this happen? First thing you have to understand is that the name of God represents the presence and the authority of God. Many people are saved, but they have not mastered the presence of God. It is in God's presence, in God's name, that safety is guaranteed. In salvation, you are reconciled with God, but in koinonia, you build a working and organic relationship with God. It is in this relationship that you receive power against the works of the flesh that have already mastered your soul. So this is where I'm actually driving to. There are people who get saved, and the way they combat sin is through rules and regulations. Now, I am 100% in support of rules and regulation. I am not against rules and regulation, but I need to point this out to you. What do I mean by rules and regulation? First of all, someone gets born again, and then in order to stay pure, he sets certain rules like no lady comes to my house, I will not be found with a guy after 4 p.m. and all of those things. Great, amazing, right? What those rules are is like you running away from sin. You want to always be a step ahead of sin. If sin is coming here, you want to always be ahead. So those rules are to guide you. But the formula we find in Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 10 is that the righteous man is actually running, but he is not in that sense running away from sin. He is actually running into the name of the Lord. So in practical terms, this is how this works. If I get saved and then I don't want to be found in sinful living, first thing to do is to set rules and regulation. I'm not going to let people come to my house. I'm not going to hug sisters. I'm not going to all of those things. They are good. However, the twist here is that when you set all of those rules, the right thing to do is to spend more time in prayer, in the study of the word, and in retreating, in set apart, in fellowship. Because if I say I will not let sisters come to my house, for instance, so that I will not have anything immoral to do with them, but then I am in that same house by myself watching pornographic content, I'm in that same house spending tons of hours watching movies that are exposing me to the same women I don't want to allow coming to my house, you discover that the purpose is defeated. The glory is not in the rules. The glory is not in running away from sin. The glory is in running into the name of the Lord. Because if I'm not allowing sisters to come to my house, for instance, it is so that it will give me an opportunity to spend time with God, to break the power and the lust for sinful living from me. So in that sense, I get safety from running. I'm not running for running's sake, because when you keep running, you will keep running and sin will keep chasing. But when you run into the name of the Lord, you'll be safe. So your rules are good, but add prayer to it. Your boundaries are great, but add fellowship to it. The power is not in the rules. The power is in your consecration. The power is in the presence of the Lord, your time of fellowship.